Welcome to this explainer. Let's just jump right in because today we're completely shifting the paradigm of how you view yourself. Most people think identity is something they discover, but we're going to look at the architecture of your own mind and see that identity is actually something you practice. Drawing directly from Daniel Body's incredible work on neuroalignment, we're unpacking the invisible blueprints that dictate exactly how you live, lead, and love. So take a look at this staggering number, 148,000. It's massive, right? Well, that is the estimated amount of times the average person hears no or some kind of limiting message before they even reach adulthood. Words like don't, can't, shouldn't, or stop. If you actually break that down, it means you received dozens of corrective, limiting messages every single day during your most critical identity-forming years.
Here's our quick roadmap for today. 1. The identity myth. 2. Your invisible architecture. 3. Identity is practiced. And 4. The blueprint reset.
Starting with Section 1, the identity myth. We are challenging this whole idea of finding yourself.
Like I mentioned earlier, most people operate under the belief that identity is something you discover. It's treated like a fixed essence buried deep down that you just have to uncover, like a treasure hunt. But I think identity is also something we practice. It's a self-concept that is continuously built through repeated choices and beliefs. You don't just find yourself, you are constantly building yourself based on what you repeat.
Moving right into Section 2, your invisible architecture. Let's look at how that repetition actually becomes programming.
Think back to that crazy number, 148,000. Now, sure, some of those no's were just necessary boundaries to keep you safe as a kid, but a whole lot of them, they were delivered through fear-based control, projected insecurities, or negativity dressed up as help. It might have been a tone you learned to fear or a silence that felt like punishment. And here is why this is absolutely crucial. Repetition is not neutral. That repetition literally became your programming. It hardwired your nervous system to learn what is safe, what gets you loved, and what gets you rejected.
This perfectly illustrates the deeper chain reaction of how self-talk becomes your life script. The results you have in your life, they come from your actions. Your actions come directly from your thoughts. Your thoughts stem from your core beliefs, and those beliefs, they are just reinforced by repetition. Everything you've heard, absorbed, and practiced since childhood. So the results you're seeing in your relationships and your leadership, they all start right here at that foundational level of inherited beliefs.
Which brings us to Section 3, identity is practiced. Let's enter what's called Doorway 4. I want you to take a deep, grounding breath and let this big idea really sink in. We become what we repeatedly practice believing about ourselves. Your brain is literally always learning from what you practice, even when you aren't intentionally trying to teach it anything. Information helps us understand, for sure, but practice is what helps us actually become.
Think about your own daily internal monologue for a second. Every single time you say to yourself, I'm just not confident, or I'm terrible at this, or maybe this is just who I am. You're rehearsing an identity. You're actively strengthening a neural pathway in your brain.
And here's the kicker. You aren't repeating these scripts because they're permanently true. You're doing it because it's become familiar. You repeat these self-limiting scripts simply because the repetition has made them feel safe and familiar to your nervous system. Your brain loves efficiency, and it tends to mistake familiarity for absolute truth. But the beautiful news is this. Practice works in both directions. If identity can be reinforced by default programming, it can absolutely be reshaped, one intentional choice at a time. If you can learn a negative script, you can unlearn it.
So, let's look at how to actually do that in Section 4, the blueprint reset. This is where you become the architect again.
This is the core definition of the neuroalignment method. It's the process of bringing your nervous system, your thought patterns, and your chosen identity all into the exact same direction. So your life is led by alignment rather than just running on autopilot. It gives you a safe return pathway. You aren't forcing yourself to be endlessly, toxically positive. You're aligning your inner world so it stops fighting against itself.
Practically speaking, how do we do this? It's done through a simple 10-minute daily practice using this 3-step loop. First, interrupt. You catch that negative script and just name the loop without judging it. Second, regulate. You restore safety in your body, maybe through deep breathing, because you literally cannot mindset your way out of an activated nervous system. And third, replace. You install a truer, aligned script and just take one small next step. As you run this little 10-minute daily practice, you're going to notice a huge shift.
You'll transition the dominant voice in your head away from that old script, the harsh, absolute, shaming critic that drives you to perform out of pure fear. Instead, you'll start installing the new script, a steady, truthful, and compassionate coach that leads you from a place of true alignment.
Small, daily micro-repetitions are exactly how we install a new operating system. This isn't about intensity, it's all about consistency. A tiny daily investment of just 10 minutes yields a massive structural renovation over time. It gives you a brand new filter for your past, a new lens for your inherent worth, and a completely new relationship with conflict.
Remember, you do not need a completely new personality. You just need a new pattern. And patterns are built gently and consistently, one intentional choice at a time. You're just replacing the inherited noise with your true voice.
To wrap up our explainer today, I have a quick exercise for you. Grab a piece of paper. I want you to leave behind those 148,000 no's of your past and just finish this sentence. I am becoming someone who. Write only one sentence. What will you practice believing about yourself starting right now?